Story recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a mystery thriller film called The Ninth Gate. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. A rare book collector named Andrew Telfer calmly writes a letter in his office, surrounded by his collection of antiquities and books. A leather footstool stands in the middle of the office with a noose hanging above it, tied around the chandelier. Andrew finishes his letter and climbs on the footstool, fixing the noose around his neck. The chandelier sparks as it carries the man's weight, his foot trembling below until he no longer moves. In New York City, rare book dealer Dean Corso evaluates a rare book collection. He estimates the whole collection is worth $600,000, though it will take months to get that value. He convinces the collector's children to sell him a 4-volume edition of Don Quixote at only $4,000, knowing that he can sell it for much more. On his way out, he comes across Witkin, a fellow book dealer who accuses him of being a vulture. The clients were initially been Witkin's, but Corso's evaluation of the collection cost Witkin the sale. With the Don Quixote book in his hands, Corso meets with his business partner, Bernie, who knows a client interested in the collection. Corso is then hired by a wealthy book collector, Dr. Boris Balkan, who teaches a lecture about demons and medieval literature. Sitting on the back at the lecture, Corso notices a peculiar blonde woman in the audience. Balkan dives into the history of witchcraft in literature, but Corso grows bored and falls asleep. At the end of the lecture, Balkan approaches the sleeping book dealer and invites him to his office, where his rare books collection is kept inside a pressurized safe. All of his books have one subject in common: the devil. On a pedestal sits a copy of The Nine Gates of the Kingdom of the Shadows by Aristide Torquia, who the Holy Inquisition burned alive along with his creations. History dictates that 3 copies of the book survived, though Balkan insists that only 1 copy is authentic. He bought his copy from Andrew Telfer the day before he ended his own life. The myth suggests Torquia wrote The Nine Gates based on the Delum Lenicon, a book written by Satan himself. The Nine Gates bears riddles that, if interpreted correctly using the Delum Lenicon, one could conjure up the devil in person. Balkan tasks Corso to compare his copy of the Nine Gates with the other 2 copies in Portugal and France and prove which of the 3 books is authentic. If any one of the other copies is the real book, Balkan insists for Corso to acquire it for him, no matter what the cost. In part of his investigation, Corso visits Liana Telfer, Andrew's widowed wife, to learn more about the book. Unaware that Andrew sold his most prized book, she presses Corso for information on who it was sold to, which Corso denies. Liana shares Andrew's strange behavior before his death, staring up at the chandelier where he was hung from. Though she sees her husband as a fanatic collector who bought the 9 Gates in Spain with a heavy fortune, she doubts Andrew ever attempted to use the rituals from the book. After the interview, Corso goes to the library to study the pages of the 9 Gates. He spots the strange blonde woman from Balkan's lecture but fails to reach her. That evening, he returns to his apartment and finds that it's been ransacked, possibly by someone searching for the 9 Gates. With the recent events, Corso gives the book to Bernie for safekeeping until his flight to Europe. Bernie fawns over the pages of the book, not noticing the hidden strangers watching them outside. As Corso prepares for his flight, Liana visits him to buy the book from him. When money doesn't persuade Corso, Liana seduces him. The 2 kiss passionately as Corso's hand caresses her legs, revealing a serpent tattoo. After their night of passion, Liana checks Corso's bag but doesn't find the book. Angered, she attacks and bites him on the chest before knocking him out. When Corso wakes up, Liana is gone. He calls Bernie to check on the book, but he doesn't answer the phone. Worried, Corso goes to Bernie's bookstore but hesitates, thinking of the risks. He finds Bernie dead, hanging upside down from his staircase. Corso checks Bernie's secret compartment and finds the 9 Gates still safely hidden. With the 9 Gates in his bag, he calls Balkan to quit the job, alarmed by the severity of the situation. However, Balkan denies and offers more money to Corso instead. Over the phone, Corso hears an announcement in the background, suggesting that Balkan is at the airport. Before he could confirm, however, Balkan hangs up. With no choice, Corso proceeds with his flight to Europe. He checks the 9 Gates and finds an engraving where a man is hung upside down, much like how he found Bernie. In Toledo, Spain, Corso visits the Ceniza brothers, 2 book restorers from whom Andrew bought the 9 Gates. But according to the brothers, it was Liana who bought the book from them, not Andrew. Having had the book for years, the brothers studied it enough to know it's authentic. They show Corso the signature in one of the engravings, suggesting that Lucifer co-wrote the book. As Corso makes his way out of the brothers' shop, a scaffolding collapses, nearly burying him in the rubble. While on the train to Portugal, Corso checks the other engravings from the book, seeing 2 more with Lucifer's supposed signature. He finds the blonde girl on the train and tells her to send his regards to Balkan, thinking that she's a spy for him. The next day, he arrives at the home of Victor Fargas, who owns another copy of the 9 Gates. Despite Fargas' large manor, the house is bare with minimal furniture around. His library is still filled with his previous collection, though Fargas admits his collection is not as grand as it used to be. Fargas lends his copy of the 9 Gates to Corso to compare it to Balkan's. Upon examining the engravings, he notices one image of a man with 2 keys holding them in the opposite hand from the other book. The signature on the engravings on one book is signed by the author, A.T., while the other is signed by Lucifer, LCF. He spots another discrepancy, where the end of a maze has its door open on one book, but it's closed on the other. The signatures on the illustration do not match as well. After his examination, Corso leaves Fargus' house but is nearly run over by a car. The silver-haired driver steps out of the car, seemingly approaching Corso, but a woman in a motorcycle arrives, forcing him to drive away. Confused, Corso watches the two disappear down the road. At his hotel's lobby, Corso finds the blonde girl and approaches her. Just as he's about to ask if she's the girl on the motorcycle, he's interrupted by Balkan's call. He takes the call in his room for privacy, where he reports the discrepancies in the book. Hearing this, Balkan demands to acquire the book, despite Corso's claim that Fargus will not sell it for any price. The next day, the blonde girl wakes him up and tells him to see Fargus again. She takes him on her motorcycle and drives him to Fargus Manor, where they find him drowned in the fountain outside. They break into his house and find the copy of the Nine Gates half burned in the fireplace. With the woman's insistence, the two fly to Paris to find the third copy of the Nine Gates. After they arrive at the Paris airport, however, the woman disappears. At the hotel, Corso finds the pages signed LCF from Fargus' copy had been torn out. He then visits Baroness Kessler, who claims to have seen the devil when she was 15 and is now writing his biography. According to Kessler, a secret society known as the Order of the Silver Serpents was created after Torquia's death to preserve the secrets from the Nine Gates and the Delum Lenicon. She used to be part of the order, but seeing that it has degraded over the centuries, Kessler left. The order used to read the Nine Gates from Kessler's copy, but after she left, Liana, a member of the order, acquired another copy from the Sinisa brothers and used it for their meetings. From how Kessler knew Andrew and his marriage to Liana, she assumes that Andrew would have killed himself if he discovered Liana's involvement with the cult. Given that Andrew did hang himself the previous week, he may have discovered the cult after all. Learning of his death, Kessler becomes suspicious and asks Corso who his client is. Even when he doesn't answer, Kessler figures that he's sent by Balkan and refuses to let him examine her book. She warns him not to get involved any further before he leaves. Upon leaving Kessler's office, Corso finds the silver-haired man waiting for him. To avoid him, he walks into a restaurant and waits for the man to leave. But after a few hours, the man is still there. Tired, Corso leaves the restaurant, and the man is gone. As he walks away, however, a car chases after him. He heads down the river to hide but gets cornered. As Corso fights the silver-haired man, the woman floats down from the steps and helps. The man escapes, and Corso breaks his glasses during the scuttle. Arriving at the hotel, Corso asks the reception to search if Liana is staying at any other hotel. As he and the woman recover from their injuries in his room, Corso stares at her glowing green eyes while she smears her blood on his face. Confused, he demands answers but is interrupted again by a phone call. He takes the call to the reception desk, where he reports Fargus' death and the missing pages to Balkan. Upon learning that Kessler sent him away, Balkan suggests seeing her again during lunch break. Corso makes a photocopy of the engravings, despite all the risks the book poses, before heading back to his empty room. The woman is gone. To keep the book safe, Corso hides it behind the mini-fridge. The following day, Corso goes into the office after Kessler's secretary leaves for lunch. He apologizes to Kessler for not being transparent about his intentions and then gives her the photocopies from Balkan's book. The idea that all three copies have discrepancies convinces Kessler to compare Balkan's copies to hers. Here, they find discrepancies in 3 other illustrations. The possibility of Talkia having hidden the only real book in all the 3 copies intrigues Kessler, finally allowing Corso to investigate the book. Between the pages, he finds a postcard sent to Kessler by Balkan. Checking all the engravings, Corso confirms that there are 9 variations in total, with all the changed engravings signed with LCF. While he's deep into his investigation, someone knocks him out from behind. When Corso wakes up, he finds Kessler in her wheelchair, running against the wall. He wheels her around and discovers that she was strangled to death. The fire roars from her office, engulfing her copy of the Nine Gates. Retreating to his hotel room, he checks behind the mini-fridge and discovers Balkan's copy is missing. Corso reports that Kessler's copy has variations of the illustrations as well, but she's been killed and her collection burned. Corso hesitates but finally confesses that his book is also missing. In a cold voice, Balkan threatens Corso's life if he doesn't return the book. After the call, Corso finds the blonde woman who assures him that she did not take the book. From the reception desk, he learns where Liana is staying, then asks the reception to send his note to Balkan, informing him that Liana took the book. Corso and the woman arrive at Liana's hotel but find it empty. They head down and find Liana and the silver-haired man in the lobby. The woman steals a sports car from one of the hotel guests to follow them. While on their trail, however, they're blocked by a large cargo truck, making them lose the car. Searching for the correct path, they spot a sign pointing to Saint Martin, Liana's maiden name. They locate the Saint Martin chateau and get in through the woods surrounding the area. Numerous cars are parked in front of the manor, decorated with ceramic torches illuminating the walls in an ominous glow. Guests clad in black gather in front of a shrouded altar, and a large feast is being prepared in the kitchen. Corso and the woman climb up a terrace and find Liana changing into a black robe with a gold pentagram necklace around her neck. Corso breaks the door open and recovers Balkan's book from her luggage. But his victory is cut short when the silver-haired man retrieves the book from him. With a gun to their back, Corso and the woman are taken to the dungeon. As they make their way down, Corso tackles the silver-haired man and knocks him out. The woman watches him beat the man in odd glee. Upstairs, Liana reads from Balkan's book in front of the cult. Corso, dressed in the silver-haired man's cloak, blends in with the crowd, waiting for an opportunity to retrieve the book. The ritual is interrupted when the large doors open, revealing an impatient Balkan mocking the cult. He stands at the altar, pointing out the crude ceremony, unworthy of the Prince of Darkness time. Balkan claims to be the only worthy disciple of their master, as he had spent his life understanding his grand design. He singles out Liana as a charlatan, provoking her to claw his face. The two fight over the book, which ends with Balkan strangling her with her necklace. Corso attempts to save Liana, but the woman descends to stop him, telling Corso to let Liana die. Having done the deed, Balkan remains passive as the rest of the cult scream and run in fear. He takes his book and casually saunters back to his car, not minding the rest of the crowd who scramble away. The woman finally releases Corso, reminding him that Balkan's public murder proves his innocence of Kessler's and Fargus deaths. This doesn't satisfy him, however. He takes Liana's car and chases after Balkan, leaving the woman behind, suspicious of her motive. Corso follows Balkan's car, but his car gets stuck in the middle of a river, losing his former client. He takes his belongings from the car and finds the silver-haired man's gun still in his pocket. As he rests and dries his clothes at a diner, he remembers the postcard Balkan sent to Kessler. Unable to move past the mystery, Corso makes his way to the ruined castle in the postcard. With the sun setting, he navigates around the castle, seeing the light in one of the turrets. Balkan's voice echoes as he lays down the engraving in preparation to unlock the 9th gate. Balkan spots Corso and tells him to leave and take his payment from his New York office. However, Corso refuses, seeing how Balkan killed for the pages of the books. Corso aims a gun at Balkan but is quickly overpowered. He sinks into broken floorboards where Balkan allows him to watch the ritual. To gain power equal to God, Balkan douses the floorboards with gas and kneels, offering his soul to his master. He breaks a lamp onto the ground, burning the floor with him at the center. High with pride, Balkan relishes in flames, believing that it makes him invulnerable and invincible. After he plays with the flames in his hands, claiming that he doesn't feel the heat, Corso challenges him to show further proof of his invincibility. With crazed eyes, Balkan bathes in the fuel and allows himself to burn, laughing maniacally. But as the flames reach his face, Balkan panics. The ritual did not work. He screams in pain while Corso sinks further into the floor, allowing him to escape below. Corso climbs back up and retrieves the stolen pages before shooting Balkan, putting him out of his misery. Corso walks out with the castle in flames and finds the woman waiting for him in the car. She touches him softly, her eyes glowing against the flames. The woman kisses him, seducing him to an intimate evening in front of the burning castle. The following day, the woman reveals the 9th page was a forgery, hence why Balkan's ritual didn't work. After stopping for gas, the woman disappears again, leaving a note that directs him back to the Sinisa brothers. Corso heads to their shop but finds that it's being cleaned out. The brothers are no longer around. When the workers inside remove the brothers' bookcase, a dusty page falls from the top. Corso picks up the page, discovering the real 9th engraving. The engraving shows a woman pointing to a different castle. As he looks closer, the woman in the engraving looks like the blonde woman he's been with. Knowing that he's been chosen by the woman, Corso returns to the castle, consumed by the same darkness as Balkan. The 9th gate opens for him where a golden light spills, welcoming him inside.
This is all for story recap for today. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Tell us in the comments if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Watch other of our videos showing on the screen and leave a like because it helps the channel. And I would see you in the next video. Goodbye.